Let's see, should I try this? Dead Camel from Nevada. I think I should. Yep. Well, it looks raw, so this might not go very well. Oh, I don't know, maybe it's a heat treat. Sometimes I can't tell. This was given to me as a rock challenge. Yeah. It's dicey hitting it like this, but I've got to get rid of the nasty spots. Let's see. What is the measurement? 4 3/4 by 3 5/8. Let's see. I don't know how many 16ths that is. Let's see. It's 3/8. I thought it was, yeah, I guess it's 3/8 inch thick. Yep. Okay. 3/8 inch thick. It qualifies as a percussion slab if it was more narrow. So let's make it more narrow. Let's percussion it down to a percussion slab so then I can start percussion. How's that? Probably should have done the measurements in millimeters so I can get it down to where it's 4:1. That's where you should start on a slab, 4:1 with the thickness ratio. Yep. So if it's a 1/4 inch thick, it shouldn't be more than 1 inch wide. So that means you need to start with a thick slab if you want to percussion it. So it should be a 1/2 inch if it's 2 inches wide. Yeah, if you're a newbie, or for most people, starting out with 3/8 at 3 inches wide is asking for trouble because the ends are not thinned down. Now, do I want to thin down the ends first? Oh yeah. I do want to do it perfect every time. I usually don't because time is limited, or it's just a pain to do it. I'd rather break it and make 2 small points anyway. I don't enjoy the big points. Nope. Except when you guys like it, then I like it. So I'll do this on video. But I still have these because I will never knap these on my own by myself. I don't like working slabs that are not thick enough. Yep. So I gotta tiptoe through the tulips to get this down to a reasonable width to shoot flakes past the center. One of the easiest overall shapes is the teardrop shape or a double point. Now the double point reminds me I need to do a double stem or a spoke shave type of thing with 2 stems on it. I don't know if those, the real ones, are practice pieces or actual tools when it's got two stems on it. I tend to think it's just a practice piece. Someone's practicing stems, but could be wrong. It's much easier just to use a straight blade or even a oval blade for a spoke shave. It's easier to haft because all you'd have to do is get a big stick, split it, stick the top half of the oval inside the split, and then bind it back together with a bunch of glue inside, and you have a nice lower blade that's, you know, pretty large, sturdy. Now look, when you have two stems, with two stems, it's delicate at the stems. So as you're spoke shaving, you could snap one of the stems because wood is flexible. Yes, flexible with the single biface, but you can use a thicker piece of wood because there's unlimited amount you can have past this area. When you have two stems, you don't have unlimited amount. The wood has to be skinny. But if you just mount it into a piece of wood like that, you have unlimited, within reason, amount of wood that you can have a big old piece that won't bend. It won't snap the biface. How do I know? I don't know. Maybe I've done it before. Yeah. I've tried everything, almost everything. At least once. As far as haftings go. Yep. The only things that I haven't really explored much are the composite blades. Lots of little blades on the shaft, on the sides of the shaft, either one side or both sides. Composite blades. I haven't done much work on that sort of thing. I think I made one composite blade hafting, and that's it. And I didn't like it because it took me a long time to make it. Not just the knapping part, but the actual mounting of all the blades. It wasn't that many blades, but you know what I mean. I think there was 3 blades, and it took me forever to knap them down to the right specifications, and then I got to haft 3 blades instead of 1. And yeah, they're smaller and easier to haft than a one big one, but and they use less glue, but still it took a long time. I still can't figure out if this is heat treated or not. If it's not, it naps pretty well for a mystery rock. If it's not heat treated, it naps pretty well. Alright, so I got it to where I think all the defects on the edges are gone. Could be wrong. I think they're gone. So the next stage is to do the indirect percussion on it. Yep. Four and a quarter by 3. This time let's do this in millimeter. 75 by 10. 7 to 1. That's already way too thin. 7 to 1. It should be like 4 to 1. Anyway, I'll do it. I'll get it down to where it's like 5 to 1 before I start sending in flakes. Yeah, it's way too wide to start sending in flakes. And there's, well, maybe I did not get all the problem areas. That might be a problem area right there. Everything else looks okay. Yeah, everything except that area, so I gotta make sure I take back this side. This side looks good so far, although there's a little bit of a weirdness right there. We shall see. Steel rod for this, because it's just preliminary shaping. I'm not going to drive any long flakes, and I'm not using a glove right now because I don't want to. Probably should, but oh well. Why am I using steel for this? It's not going to catch and pull. I'm worried about the catching and the pulling because that'll snap everything. Catching and pulling will put a damper on your day. Yep. So I'm just zigzagging this for now. Let's see, is the focus working? Probably don't need to zigzag it. I can just hit the other way on this bevel. Yeah. Come on. That's the excellent and perfect angle. But even though everything's perfect, it doesn't always mean that you'll run a flake with every hit. Although that was pretty easy to do that pass, because that angle is perfect. I gotta make some cheat tools. Get myself a stone grinder too. Diamond bladed grinder. Probably an angle grinder with a diamond blade on it so I can grind the stone down when I have problems. Start cheating. Yep. I waste way too much material trying to do it the hard way. Yep. And I don't get any brownie points for doing it the hard way. The key is just getting results. You know, I'm not going to keep most of my stuff that I make, so I don't care how it's done. Now, if I keep it for myself, do I care how it's done? Not really, but kind of I do. I like to remember, yeah, that's the one that I made with steel tools when I was on a steel kick. Or that's the one I made with antler because I was on an antler kick. I kind of do pay attention to that when I'm keeping them for myself. I don't know when I'm going to start keeping them all to myself, but maybe someday. If they sit in a box and I don't do anything with them, they're not doing anybody any good. Yeah. So that's nice and pretty. Nice and symmetrical. I was running some flakes in here, but those are easy flakes, right? Let's see. I can run that length. Let's see how long that is. Let's get all technical. That's like 3/4 of an inch, so 1.5 inches I could do easy. 1.5 inches width, I can run flakes to the middle easy. But 1.5 inches is half of this, and I don't want to, take it down in half unless if I had a cheat tool, I could split this in half and make 2. Yep. I could cut it in half. Would I cut this in half? Depends on what I want to make. But yeah, if I need long, narrow points, this is a little bit over 4 inches. If I wanted to make long, narrow points, I wouldn't make one out of this. If I had a cheat tool, I'd buzz it right down, exactly down the center, and make two. Okay. You know, like hokum points that are really long and narrow. Okay, let's see. What am I going to do? I'm going to put my glove on for this next stage, because when I do indirect percussion and drive the flakes, they have a tendency to cut me right here. A lot of them hit there, and some of them hit in the tip of my finger there. Those are where I get most of my cuts, here and there, with a healthy dose everywhere else. Okay. Take back the delicate edges. Why did I choose this shape when it's easier to make it more narrow at the base? I usually default to this shape. Because usually one side is pretty bad, so I make that side narrow, and then I get rid of a lot of the nasty stuff like this here. If I make it narrow up here, and if the base has good stuff, if it's good material, I like to preserve as much of it as I can. It gives me more options for the different types of points that are wide at the base or on the stem. Just gives me more options. But the easiest way to do it is double point it. So yeah, I'm going to whittle it down, but I'm going to whittle down this side more than the other side. But I do need to test all of it just to see if there's any incipients or defects. Now, if you hear a humming noise in the background, which I think you probably do, it's because there's some inflatables, Christmas inflatables behind me that have the little motors running continuously. Yep. They got inflatables in the front yard. It's that time of year. Little Christmas decorations with continuous little motors running to keep them inflated. And of course you have the obligatory motorcycle going by when I'm trying to talk, trying to explain something. Obligatory. Yep, it's gotta be. Gotta have at least one motorcycle in the video. Yeah, let's zoom in even though you can't see all of it. You won't be able to see the whole thing. I'm getting questions about platform angles and stuff. Just default to platform angles like that. You know, that's like a 45, right, or less. Go with 45 to start with, and then make them steeper when you want to start napping with indirect percussion or heavy percussion of some sort. You don't want them at a 45. You can do a 45 with pressure flaking and a very strong material, but I don't recommend it for percussion. You can default to 60 or 70 degrees with everything, and then you're safe. You'll just have to pay more attention to your grinding. If you've got the angle really steep and you grind a lot, it's going to be way too tough to remove a flake. So steep angle, you don't need to grind it as much. If the angle starts going this way, you need to grind it more, especially with modern tools. The metals will shatter the edge. Hammer stones will shatter the edge also. So you do need to grind it or be at a steeper angle with a hammerstone. But it's not that much of a difference. Some guys can get away with sharp edges with all of their work. They don't even pay attention to that. They don't care. They can flake on any kind of edge. And then you look at them and you ask them, what's the angle? I don't know. The one that works? Yeah. Oh yeah, I know that angle. It's the one that works angle. Your angle might not work for me, and my angle might not work for you. It's the one that works. That's the angle. When someone asks me about the angles, I don't want to say, don't ask. I don't want to say that. No. I'm tempted to sometimes. I try not to think about the angles. I just want to look at the edge and go, I like it or I don't like it. It's working or it's not. I take a few flakes, it seems to be okay, well then continue with the same. If it's not okay, then change it up. If it's very inconsistent, even though you got the same exact angles every time, then you just go with it. Go with whatever happens. Yeah, sometimes you get the perfect angles on the edges and it's not cooperating. It's not the angles, it's the material in that case. Yeah, you might say, but isn't the angle determined by the material? It can be. I always default to the same setup no matter what I'm using, no matter what material, and then I'll change it up a little bit as I go, without analyzing it too much, without thinking about it too much. So I'll forget what I did on a particular piece. How did I get it thin on that particular material? I don't remember. I gotta do it over and over and over. After a bunch of points, then I'll remember. But I don't remember for each type of material. It's one of the drawbacks of modern knapping. Everyone wants you to be experts in everything. They want you to be expert in knapping everything, so you got to keep track of, or try to keep track of everything. Every type of point with every type of material. They want you to keep track of that, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna adjust my style to the edge. I'm not gonna adjust the edge to my style. Okay? I adjust my style to the edge. I start with a certain edge. And I'll adjust. Start with a default 60 degrees or something, and I'll adjust my style. I'll kind of wing it. Should I be remembering every single thing? Everything? I should be. Perfect world, yes. Okay, hold on. It's getting dicey, so I got to take my jacket off. Excuse me while I pause for station identification. Okay, jacket is off. Sleeves are rolled up. The game just got dicey. All right. Well, since I started on this side already, I'm going to try to complete the flaking on this side, then try to flake the other side. Yep. I'm going to switch to aluminum to see how that works. That looks okay. Not too much pitting going on. Let's see. Let's adjust the camera so it's so close to my face that I'm probably breathing into the microphone. Okay, let's see. I don't know. Okay, that's better. I gotta thin down the ends first before I start thinning in the middle. Remember, nobody remembers. I can say that to them. I'm blue in the face, and every time I watch a napper at a napping, they don't do it. They're not doing it. I don't say anything. Nope. If they're not doing it, they're not doing it. It's okay. Who am I to talk? I'm pretty random as it is, you know. I don't expect people to follow the rules if I don't follow the rules. But you'll be sorry. Yeah. Sometimes you'll be sorry that you didn't thin down the ends first. Everybody's good at snapping it in half. That's what everyone's actually good at. It's controlled snapping. Yeah. Controlled snap in half. Snappity doodah. Snappity a. Don't worry. It's all controlled. Alright, is that working? I can make a cute little arrowhead out of that. Oh yes. Maybe someday. But that didn't run as far as I needed. And this one didn't run as far as I needed either. Did I take that off with aluminum? I don't know. Let's hit it really, really hard. Let's see. Did it do it? Ooh, yeah, I think it did. Still got a little bit of the original surface there, but it went pretty good. Yeah, without taking too much thickness off. I can't take off too much thickness because I'd be in big trouble when I try to remove the original surface off of that side. Big troubles. I think I am still in big troubles because it looks way too thin to be safe. Yeah. I don't like it. Nope. Okay. Let's go back to steel because I can feel it pulling. Yeah, and when it pulls, you're in trouble. Yeah, that's better. There's hardly any pulling. Just smashes the edge just like it's supposed to. Yeah, you use the properties of the material on your tooltip to an advantage. If it smashes and you want it to smash, it's good. I do want it to smash because in that way it's not pulling. It's not pulling this and putting bending stresses on it. There's some gobbledygook in there. I was watching videos again today. I'm waiting to see a video that makes a lot of, or generates a lot of views. I'm waiting to see one that I say, I can do that. Haven't found one yet, except the Flintknapping videos. I can do the Flintknapping, but only some channels get lots of views for Flintknapping. I just saw a video, or let's say, I think it's a YouTube short or TikTok. I'm not going to name names, but so I guess someone asked him, can you make a club? And he goes, yeah, I can make a club. I thought this might be interesting, except, you know, the thumbnail had a Fred Flintstone type of club, but a little exaggerated, kind of comical. So I said, I don't know, is that a joke or is that okay? I don't know, we'll see. I watched it, yeah, should have been a joke, but it was actually real and got 1 million views. I'm thinking to myself, you know, if I just make cartoon character primitive tools that you see the cartoon characters use, I'll get 1 million views. Yeah. It's not usable for anything. It's not made with authentic materials. It's not even designed after something in the archaeological record. Not even based on one. It's just based on cartoon characters. I'm thinking, yeah, I can do that, but I don't want to do that. That's ridiculous. That really is ridiculous. I don't know if I would like to watch myself do that. In the process of reviewing the video, I would go, do I really want to post this? Really? Seriously? Do I really seriously want to post it? I start talking weird to myself because it's stressing me out. Should I or should I not post this cartoonish item? I would most likely say nope. Nope, nope, no. With a heck no to top it off. Oh, heck no. Yeah. Let's see. Let me see. Is it narrow enough that I can remove the nasty stuff off the center so I can be done with this side? Is it narrow enough? And did I take enough of that crack out to be safe, or is it going to open up on me in the last minute at the very end of the process? Is that crack going to open up and give me problems? Always assume that it'll go badly. Take some precautions. But don't think about it too much, because then you won't be able to run flakes. I figured it out. You can't run flakes if you overthink it. But there are some rules you got to follow. Very consistent rules that it would behoove you to follow. And thinning the ends is one of them. Other than that, you shouldn't have to think about it too much. Yeah, also, make sure the tool tips are clean and not pitted or full of chips. Use a material that you can run down the hardware store in 10 minutes and get another one. That's what I recommend. You don't have to order online and wait 2 weeks or whatever. Of course, some of you guys are smart enough to order a bunch in advance and have a stockpile. Yeah. Whenever I do that, I end up with a stockpile of stuff I don't really need after a while. All right, did that work? That was a very hard hit. Very, very hard hit. Let's see. In one fell swoop, I removed all the remaining original surface. What's a fell swoop, you might ask? That's a term that boomers use. Yeah. It's like a bird of prey reference, I guess. Fell means, you know, something so dangerous it kills. Yeah. I killed that original surface. I need to kill that crack because it's going to rear its ugly head, but I don't think I'm going to be able to kill it. Nope. I'm just going to have to roll the dice every time I hit in that area. Here we go. Why don't I switch back to aluminums? Because steel's doing okay. Yeah. In fact, I lose a little bit of energy with the aluminum, so. And I don't see much smashing or crushing on the edge with the steel, so I think I'm going to continue with the steel for at least a little bit longer. All right, so now the other side. This is where it gets down to the nitty-gritty. Nitty-gritty. Ain't it swelly? What you get, it doesn't rhyme, but you know what the other rhyme is. Ain't it, is it nitty-gritty, ain't it swell? Yeah. So this is what I would normally be doing with a pressure flaker, but since it's easier to use the indirect percussion flaker, that's what I'm going to do. Easy. And then I'm going to grind it. Start driving flakes. But I am going to make it more narrow. Especially down here because I don't want to push my luck too much. Even though some of you might say, no, don't make it more narrow because you know you can do it. Just do it. You know you can do it. Yeah, I can do it, but why push it? Why push it too much? I do push the limits, but there's a limit to the limits. Yeah. There's a limit to pushing it to the limit. I don't like the crack there. I don't like it at all. It does go all the way through in some spots. See that? It does go all the way through, so it's not going to be good. The dead camel is going to be 2 dead camels. Don't watch it. If I got too much weight at the tip, this one dead camel will be 2 dead camels. You might be asking, what is he talking about? I'm just now tuning in and I see there's dead camel written on the workpiece. I don't know why. It's because you just tuned in, dude. Yeah. You missed it. You missed the introduction. I know that other channels have their little introductions and all that. You're probably used to skipping to the middle of the videos to start watching it because that's where everyone else starts after doing their affiliate program ad. So you missed it. Not that it's all that exciting or informative. I know nothing about this dead camel stuff. I just nap it. Yep, that's it. I've even tried napping cinder block once. Oh yes. It does not nap very well, but it makes an excellent abrader. Yeah, break up the cinder block and you don't need a hammerstone. As long as it's a good quality cinder block. Yeah, it's true. It's, I'm not lying. It makes a good hammerstone. I mean, abrader, sorry. Makes a good abrader. Ooh, that worked kind of good. Oh, yeah. Very precise hit with steel. Yeah, except when it doesn't work. Yeah, like that. I got incipients in that one right there. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If all fails, just hit downward. Downward usually doesn't cause those incipients. Downward strike. And you can still remove a flake with a downward strike. The problems start rearing your ugly head when you start trying to drive flakes with inward force. That's when it starts to get dicey. Really dicey. Not that this process is not dicey. It is. The whole process is dicey. But it gets more dicey the more you hit inward. And some of you guys will say, well, isn't that the whole process of napping is hitting inward to flake with long flakes? Isn't that the whole objective? Yep. That's why you can't do it. It's too dicey for you. Yeah. You've got to be very experienced if you want to hit inward without messing it up. You can hit inward all day long, you just won't have any results that you like. Did it stop the guys back in the day if they didn't like the results? Sometimes, but most of the time they said, it's good enough. Step fracture. Oh well. Oh well. No biggie. It's already a knife, right? Let's see. I mean, I could just leave it, just grind it off or grind it off. I don't know what I mean by that, but I can take off this writing. All right, what am I going to do? This edge is not nearly concave enough for me to feel comfortable driving flakes already. Although some of you guys are saying, a piece of cake, I can drive flakes across that all day long with that edge. Yeah, I can. That's what some guys say. Not me. Alright, let's see. I gotta study this for a minute. Okay. I studied for like 5 seconds. Yeah, the new camera, it doesn't like long format. The audio is off if I record for long periods of time. But I think what happens is, it only happens with the first video of the day. I'm looking at my other videos. I am joining them all together now. The first video in the series has the sound quality that's messed up. The other ones that I tag on to it in the chain don't have their audio messed up, as far as I can tell. So the shorter I make the first video in the chain, the better, because then you won't see the sound being off for very long. That's the idea. I think that's what it's going to do. We will see as time goes on. One thing about my channel is you get to see how my skill grows and changes in real time, and how I change over time. Yeah, I look older right now, but I feel better. So if I have a choice of looking younger and feeling bad, or looking older and feeling good, I will choose the latter. I will choose the looking older and feeling better. I remember being swollen, inflamed, puffy, and fatigued all the time. Not able to think, and having dizzy spells and those flashy migraines where you see those lights flashing before your eyes. I never really had headaches except during the sinus infections, which I don't have anymore. Used to have sinus infections with headaches, these flashing lights before my eyes, zigzag kind of shimmerings, general fatigue and bad mood, low tolerance for things that require patience. So yeah, I did not feel good. I feel better now than I did in my 30s. I think I felt better in my 20s than I do now, mainly because of just the physical discomfort. When you get older, you have physical discomforts. Your back hurts. My left knee bugs me. Your eyes get tired. I can't see. I got to use readers. My eyes get tired easy. If I don't use my readers to read and I start looking far away, I'm seeing really blurry far away. I'm nearsighted a little bit, but if I strain my eyes, I'm nearsighted a lot. Yeah. I can rule my whole day by reading in the morning without my reader glasses, because then the rest of the day I'm seeing blurry far away, and I got to wear my far away glasses. I got 2 pairs of glasses, actually 3. The third is a turd. Wait, where's my... There it is. So, there you go, yeah. My third pair of glasses combines the far away and the close, and I hate that. Bifocals. I thought the bifocals would be such a great thing, so I got them, and then No, they drive me insane. Maybe it's the ADD or something, but they're distracting. They drive me insane. For some reason, I respond better if I had to take one glasses off and put the other glasses on. Yeah. Don't ask me why. I ain't gonna tell you, because I don't know. Alright, let's see if that worked. No. Dang it. I hit that hard. They heard it next door. Yeah. Guarantee they looked around. What the hell was that? It's a guy talking to himself over there. What is he doing? Who knows? It sounds like might be. It sounds like you might be fighting with something. Yeah, I'm fighting with this piece of slab. Alright, what's going on? I don't know, I'm hitting the base way too much because I need to find a way to drive flakes inward, and I gotta set up the edge better, but I'm running the risk of snapping the whole thing right where it's cracked. Is it a nail biter yet? Probably. Yeah. If you're not biting your nails yet, you will in a minute. Why don't I use the steel? Because the steel grabs less. Well, the aluminum drives the flakes further, I noticed. I need further flake drivels. Yeah. Whatever that means. Okay. My goodness. Taking down the width a lot just to be safe. On the good side too. Now I'll take it off. Take some edge off on both sides. You remember how wide the slab was, right? If I was working a bunch of slabs, I would say to myself, you know, this is how much I got left from that one slab. I'll just take it all down to this size and then nap it. You know, just trim around all the way around until I get to this size and then start napping. Yep, you can do that, but you don't know until after you do the first one. And a lot of times I just have one-offs. I don't have another slab like this, and probably will never ever get one like it. But the guys who make the slabs, that's what they could do. Figure out what the first slab looks like after they make a point out of it, how the results look like after they make a point with the first slab, and then they adjust their strategy from there. Me, I do all one-offs. Yep. I don't think, maybe I have napped some other pieces like this made of dead camel, but I'm not sure. I can't say never, right? Because I never know. You might say, well, you just said never when you said never know. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to hit that side. I don't want to hit that side because that nasty little crack is going to make my life miserable. Isn't it? Yeah. But that's what these videos are all about. A full display of misery. Yeah. It's fun to watch misery. To watch someone else go through it. Oh yes. It's a vicarious. It's vicarious. Look it up. Okay, that's not bad. Not a bad start. Not too bad. Not too shabby. We'll see how it goes. This is the easy part. Yeah. Using slabs is economical if you don't mess them up. That's a big if. Because they can be easily messed up. Are you biting your nails yet? You should be. I'm going to drive them flakes with lots of force. Right in near the area where there's a crack. Of course, it's not going to be an end snap. It's more dangerous to hit down there and open that up than it is to hit up here and open that up. Believe it or not, it's more dangerous down there. I'm just trying to make it thinner at the tip. In a strategic way. Using steel so it doesn't grab. Driving as few long flakes as possible. So I'm not hitting it thousands of times, you know. Yeah, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. Can't be hitting and hitting and hitting too much. The more I hit, the greater the odds are of snapping it. Except, of course, the little ones. These wise guys will say, what about the little flakes? Does that make a difference, these little bitty ones? No, they don't make a difference. It's the big ones that make a difference on how many times you hit. The little ones, yeah, they can handle that. The stone can handle a bunch of little strikes. Not a big deal. Like this one's a big one. You can't be doing too many of these. Yep. There's just so much edge work. Not all the edge is good. Not all the edges are good. Not all these areas are good to hit. That one was a good one. That was it. Everything else looks cruddy. Well, maybe that one right there. Yeah, I need a bigger flaker for these down here. Ah, look at that. Eating away at my tool. Okay, come on. I'll try it again, right in the same exact spot. It's risky to do that, but it turned out that I hit halfway, which is good. This may end up with a little curve in it, but you know what I'm going to say, right? Oh well. I'm going to say, oh well. Nice. Okay. Don't want anything interfering with these strikes. How am I supporting it? It's basically just resting in my hand with a little bit of firmness in my fingers, but not clasping. I do clasp a little bit, but not much. When I try to run these long flakes, and I try not to bite more off than I can chew. And it ends up probably with some of this remaining in the middle. Yeah, unfortunately. Because I can't reach. No good options here. I just gotta hit and pray. Isn't there a way that I could make the edge better? I wish. With the pressure flaker and then make it more narrow. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's my only option. To get the rest of that cleared off, I'm gonna need to pressure flake it and then make it more narrow. Yep. Yep, pressure flake it, pressure flake it. Okay. So what do I do? What do I talk about during the pressure flaking? My tablet's nice. I like my new tablet. I switched most of my social media over to that tablet, so it's not taking up memory on my phone. That way I can store bigger and longer videos on my phone. Why don't I just get a computer? I do have a computer, for those of you who don't know. It's just not working right now. And I didn't bring it with me. I'm low tech. If I can carry it under my own power, I like it. I can carry a computer around with my own power, but phone is so much easier. Besides, it costs just as much as a darn computer. Yeah. I was amazed. I never bought a phone from scratch. I always had hand-me-downs. We've purchased phones for the children. But you know, you're half awake, half asleep during those episodes. You don't remember what happened. You just go, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, time for the card yet? Do I give you my credit card yet? My debit card? No? All right, let's go back to sleep. But Dad, what about this and that? I don't care. I don't know nothing about them apps. Just get whatever apps you need. Yeah. So I bought the phone from scratch this time. Turns out phone sales these days are just like used car sales used to be. Yeah. And they have all these add-ons and trinkets and gadgets and bells and whistles, and they try to get you to buy this and that. And then you finance the phone. And they say you can trade your old one in, get a discount. Just sign here. And when I was looking at it, I'm saying, wait a second, I'm financing. It says I get a discount off the phone. The phone's $1,000, let's say. Okay, so get a discount. Let's say $300 or $400. I go to sign and I'm financing $1,000. How does that work? I thought I got a discount. No, you got to add in all these other fees, you know, all this other stuff. There's other stuff involved, not just the price of the phone, but All kinds of stuff. Warranty. Whatever. Yeah, I remember when people used to say that to me when I was buying a used car. Yeah. Or a new car, especially. I remember the car dealerships used to be this way. I didn't say that, but I'm thinking to myself after I walk out of the place with my new phone, I said, man, that felt just like I bought a car. Same old stupid stuff. Same old rigmarole and stuff. Yeah. I gotta finance the thing for, what is it, 3 years? Finance my phone for 3 years, and if I change my phone service, I gotta pay the rest of the phone off or something. Some weird fine print. Can't change your service unless you pay off your phone. Something like that. Might be wrong, but it sounded like I got that impression. I didn't ask. I wanted to get out of there. Maybe they do it on purpose. So you want to get out of there. Yeah, just show me where to sign, okay? Jeez. It's hard enough to live without my phone for 5 minutes. I'm here for 2 hours. Can't use my phone. I haven't been able to use my phone. You're sitting there transferring all the data. It's making me miserable. Yeah, even boomers can get attached to their phones. Yeah. Can't be without it. It gives you anxiety and the eye twitch and the restless leg syndrome. Start getting stomach aches and stuff. Withdrawal symptoms from not using the phone. Stuff's addictive. These electronic devices are addictive. All I use it for is to complain and talk smack about things on video. That's all I use it for. And I'm addicted to it. I'm addicted to it. Oh yeah, I was watching Instagram. And there's a lot of ADD people on Instagram, but they're talking about ADD. ADD people talking about ADD. This is funny. I mean, this is funny stuff. I could watch that all day. Anyway. Yeah, we've known about ADD for a while, but I guess people are just waking up to it and going, oh my goodness, that's me. Look at all those symptoms. That's exactly what I got. Yeah, I mean, the diagnosis has been around for a while, dude. I don't say that, I don't comment, but that's what I'm seeing a lot of. It's funny to watch those videos. I think it's funny. Oh my goodness. I have all those symptoms and I didn't even know. My goodness. And I'm a YouTube influencer with millions of views and I didn't know what I got. Please view this video. Please view my ADHD or ADD video. Even though I'm complaining that I don't know what I got. I wish I could complain about something I didn't know I got and get millions of views. Yeah. I don't think I'll ever be able to figure out who gets a lot of views and who doesn't and for what reasons. It's a mystery. one of those cosmic mysteries. So I should stop watching those videos. Yeah. Hold on, I think something's wrong with the speed on the video. Okay, I don't know. For some reason I thought the video was on slow-mo or something. Yeah, no, it's just the zoom. Anyway. All that talking, and I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna have to delete the whole video because it's going in slow-mo. And I was just looking at that crack there, and looking at the remainder of this surface, and thinking, what am I gonna do about this stuff, this situation? It doesn't look too bad, actually. I'm just gonna plow ahead like nothing's wrong. Yep. Like nothing's even happening. Like nothing is even wrong with it. Yep. Because I need to get rid of the original surface. Yes, I do. It's bugging me. So I got a new phone. Yes, I did. It's great. It's cool. It's nice. It's awesome. Except I dropped it last night. I cracked the screen protector. Yeah. I cracked supposedly the uncrackable thing. The screen protector cracked, unless it's like a sacrificial item where it'll break before your phone actual screen breaks. Yeah, I got a little hairline crack all the way across it because of course, I don't just drop it, right? As it's sliding off my leg, I go to grab it and I hit it so it hits the floor with much more impact than it would have if it just slid off my knee onto the floor. I go to grab it and I hit it and it just slides across the floor. Of course. So now my screen protector has a crack and it's like, I don't know, a week old. Now, if you're one of those guys that's got OCD or anxiety, that stuff will bug you. Yeah. I don't sweat it too much these days, but it used to bug me a lot. That's one thing, another thing about being healthier, as far as your diet goes and your outlook on life, is these kind of things don't bug you as much. The crack in the screen doesn't bug me that much. Back in the day, it would have bugged me a lot. I would have to go immediately back in to the phone guy and say, yeah, I dropped this and now I need a new screen protector because it's driving me insane. But I'm not going to. And yeah, I did fill out the forms for the warranty on the screen protector. I did fill them out. I was good about it. Oh yes. Register the product for the warranty. I did it. I was surprised. I surprised myself? No, I didn't surprise myself. Just kidding. I try to register if I can I'm still waiting for the confirmation email. Gives you the secret code that you can use for reimbursement. So I'm still waiting on that. Yeah. Anxiously awaiting with bated breath. No, not really. So I chopped up this video into little bitty pieces. See if the sound quality stays good or improves as far as the sync of the sound, if it's synced to the action. If not, I'm not going to try anything else to fix it. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. That's it. I gotta think of some better content. I've got to. I've got some time. I've got some time on my hands. I gotta be able to come up with some better content. The weather's nice. Don't have no excuses. The only excuse I have is I don't want to spend a ton of money trying to come up with something else for content. For two reasons. One, you know, more viewers. That's always nice. But, you know, sometimes I get bored of this. Yeah. Bored. Bored of this stuff. Knapping is all fun and stuff, and I can do it no matter what my mood. But sometimes it just gets a little boring. Oh, I got some glass lined up. Oh yes, I am gonna nap it. I got some glass. I got some dacite too. I was looking at it the other day, and I'm looking at my napping area here, and I'm going, I can make it work. I can make it work. Just as long as Jack from next door don't come over and use the front door. Yeah. It's always a risk. Little barefoot neighbors. As long as a barefoot neighbor doesn't come over while I'm napping, just give me some time to clean up the flakes. It'd be fine. Yeah, just give me about 10 minutes. You can come over. What? I can't hear you. Let me go over there and I can't hear you. So there he goes. He's gonna come over while I got glass everywhere. I know it. I can just see it. Did I do it? I didn't do it. Can I pick that out with a pressure flaker really carefully? I can pick it all out except this little area right there. Alright, so let's see it. Let's see it, buddy. Let's see you do it. If I can find that super special extracalifragilistic pressure flaker needs to be sharper. Alright. Sharper, more chisel-y, whatever you call it. I gotta change the cushion on my seat because I haven't gotten up. Let's see, hold on. Yeah, whenever I do a operation that requires a lot of focus, I don't want to be distracted. All right, that's better. Oh yeah, focus is working okay. What am I going to do? I'm going to try to push on that step fracture and see if I can eliminate that original surface. Yay! Some of it is gone. More of it. Is that it? Maybe the other side? I can push on the other side? Let me see. Nah. Nah. I'm just going to put metal marks in it. So that's it. That's all she wrote. I ain't doing no more. No. I'm not going to risk it. I got to get rid of some lumps and forget about that area. There's a lump right here. So that's what I'm going to work on next. That lump right there probably saved me from this crack opening up. Now that I look at it, where is my super duper copper pressure flaker? I'm not going to use my copper. I'm just going to use the steel since it worked so good earlier. Oh yes. Alright, so I'm going to finish it up with pressure. And talk smack about something. Yep. Some of you might be saying, you should be explaining everything fully. Like, what are you doing and fully doing? What are you fully doing? I'm not going to explain it. Nope. You're going to have to monkey see, monkey do on this one. You might be saying, well, I can't see. I can't see. So how can I do? You're not going to do it anyway. You're not going to do it the way I do it. Monkey see what monkey doesn't do. That's one of the things that the ADD people were talking about on Instagram. They know what to do. They see what to do. They understand what to do. They just are not able to do it because they don't want to. There's a block. There's a blockage in your do. You can't do. You understand how, you understand what, but you don't understand how to do. How to get yourself to do it. Yeah. So you're not going to do it. You want to see everything, but you're not going to do it. That's only some of you. Don't worry. Oh yeah, I'm looking at the analytics. I'm looking at the analytics again. I keep looking at the analytics. See, what else are these guys watching? What are these goober heads watching? Because I might be missing out. Sure enough, there's some channels I was missing out on. Bushcraft channels that I never heard of. Obviously, and apparently extremely popular bushcraft channels of guys digging holes in the ground. Dugout shelters. Dugout shelters, and getting lots of views on their dugout shelters. I'm going, do they actually like staying in those dugout shelters? I stayed in the dugout shelter. That thing was irritating my nose so bad I couldn't stay in there. I would rather stay in a smoke-filled tent than one of those shelters, dugout shelters. Something about the air in that shelter made my nose clog up. Something was in the air, mold or something. There's no way I could stay in there. Same thing happens to me when I go down into a cave. My nose immediately just swells up. I can't breathe through my nose. And then I start getting a sinus headache. Yeah. So I don't know. No dugout shelters for me, I suppose. So I'm not going to watch that video. I did watch part of it up until you start piling dirt up against the logs. I'm going, you know what? I know how to make. I was in the combat engineers in the Army National Guard. I know how to make trenches and bunkers. You've got to reinforce those walls before you can start piling up all that dirt. And if you want to stay in there for any substantial amount of time, you can't just pound these sticks like 4 inches into the ground and then pile dirt behind it. It's going to collapse in on itself. But they don't care. I think they just, they'll set it up in their backyard so they can make millions of views on that particular video. They don't care if it falls down a week later or if it starts to move. The structure will actually start to move in different ways. It'll start to warp and shift. But it doesn't matter, I guess, because they're not going to live in there. Anyway, no one's building the shelters to military specs. So I'm not going to watch that stuff. Of course, no one knows about the military specs. They don't really know about that stuff. And of course, you don't need to build shelters to military specs because you're not going to get hit by artillery. But it would help to be at least a little bit stronger than the way they build it, just so you know it'll be there next year without much shifting. And without danger of you experiencing a collapse upon yourself while you're in there. Wouldn't that be something? I would watch that video. My shelter collapsed on me. My dugout shelter collapsed on me. I would watch that video. See, I told you. It don't pass inspection. I used to have to inspect that stuff. Yeah. Luckily, we didn't do too much of that. It's mostly laying mines and stuff. Luckily, with the guys that I had laying the mines, I'm glad they weren't using live ammo. Yeah. They were goofballs. Goofballs. I guess they were goofballs unless it really mattered, then they straightened up. But yeah, we had mock-ups of mines and stuff. Sometimes I wonder, I wonder how effective it is to train with mock-ups. Put them under some stress. At least give them something that will make a loud bang or something if they do it wrong. Instead of these wooden mock-ups that you could toss them around like frisbees. It's supposed to be a mine, and then it's not the same. Not the same level of stress as a real one. Anyway, I think it's the same thing that goes with these shelter builders. They're just goofballs. Because, they don't have to actually live in them. These little shelters are not going to be subject to any kind of stress. Not really. Not while they're in there. Maybe some raindrops. Maybe a little bit of hail. A few inches of snow. That's it. So yeah, I talk smack about the shelter guys. What else do you guys watch? You guys watch a bunch of interesting stuff that I haven't even ventured into. I keep seeing these other channels that you guys watch that I've never even paid attention to. There was this one channel that I looked at that you guys had watched about identifying plants that you can replant, like get seeds for free. The types of plants that you can get seeds for free. That are useful for livestock or for human consumption. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Homesteading stuff. So you go from my channel where I talk smack about antler people to the homesteading. Which is the best livestock to have? Hogs or goats? I'm going, you guys watch this stuff? And I started watching. You know, that's pretty interesting. I did not know that hogs would eat the plant and the root of the plant. Yeah, they dig up all the roots too. If they like a plant, they don't just eat the plant. They eat the roots and everything. They'll dig it up. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? That's pretty amazing. And that they will eat poison ivy. Hogs will eat poison ivy. Like it was lettuce. It's a salad for the hogs. I said, damn. Yeah, I swear. I said, damn, those hogs are eating poison ivy? And then I eat the hogs. Let's just say it as an example. Isn't that going to affect me somehow? Maybe? I don't know. Apparently not. Maybe it makes the bacon taste better. This is poison ivy flavored bacon. Yeah. All right, so that's it. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. I could clean up this lower area and take out some more lumps, but I'm going to move on to the next one and prevent it from being completely broken. I'd rather have a big, solid, unbroken piece than two smaller ones. Where's my tape measure? Let's see here. We got 3 7/8 by 1 3/4. Yeah. Let's see, what's the ratio in millimeters here? 45 by, I think it's a 7. 8 millimeter. It's almost 6-to-1. Between 5-to-1 and 6-to-1. Typical, is my typical. So there you go. Hopefully that was entertaining, enlightening, and something that you might want to do. But I had to disclaim it. Don't try this at home, boys and girls, with a crack in it. Yep. All right.